have time to play games, but I've got a job to do.
What's news, Hogsang? No, don't answer that. It's a rhetorical question, or perhaps a segue into a discussion of Heart of the Swarm. If you're a StarCraft II fanboy, you have Part 1 of the game, Wings of Liberty, and now you need to start Part 2, the Heart of the Swarm expansion pack. Yes, you need Wings of Liberty to play Heart of the Swarm. Someday Part 3, Legacy of the Void, will appear, but for now, here's where we are.
Armies will be shattered. Worlds will burn. Now at last, on this world, vengeance shall be mine. For I am the Queen of Blades.
Bad memories? Or a terrible premonition? Well, here's the spoiler, and it's as big as can be. You will spend nearly the entire Heart of the Swarm campaign walking Kerrigan around slaughtering people. Yes, the whole campaign focuses on one hero unit, but that's not the point. The point is that Kerrigan threw a fit when she was told the awful dictator Arcturus Minx killed her boyfriend, so she destroyed planet after planet until she got to Tarsonis to kill him. Get it? This is far beyond even the genocide and crimes against humanity of Mao or Stalin or Hitler or Pol Pot, vastly worse than the slaughter by Hutus or Turks, more evil than most people could imagine. And it's all you do. Watching and helping perpetrate an utterly insane rampage. In Wings of Liberty, you might have tried to save colonists by going on a bug hunt. You might have tried to get out a propaganda message against the evil oppressive government while fighting their troops. You might have tried to uncover a hidden prophecy. In Heart of the Swarm, there's nothing but Kerrigan murdering billions of people because of a tantrum. And that's the best storyline Blizzard could come up with. Wow. Well, you've been warned. And don't be coming back telling me that Kerrigan needed to power up so that later she could take on the dark side of the Force. That wasn't her motivation for slaughtering planet after planet full of population. Anyway, here we are. In Heart of the Swarm, we have 7 sets of missions grouped 3 to a planet, and you go a planet at a time, although in the space category there are 2 missions. You can pick the order you go through the planets to get certain units earlier in the game. There isn't a secret mission, and there aren't side missions like in Wings of Liberty. Kerrigan levels up as you get points for doing objectives and bonus objectives. You first have 2 choices per level, and then you get 3 as you progress. You'll also find your way into the evolution pit where you can choose mutations for your units. So far, the nifty thing is that you can change the Kerrigan level choices and the mutation choices during the game if you want to focus on a different strength for a particular mission, and that's good. However, you also have to pick one of two ways to evolve 7 kinds of units, and those choices stick. You do that in 7 little mini missions where you look at the 2 choices and pick one. Those missions are very simple, very hard not to just blow right through them. Just remember in the Impaler mission to move after the Impaler starts in your direction. Now in the campaign, on normal difficulty, there are multiple bonus objectives per mission. There's an additional bonus objective for each mission on the hard level, and that collection of objectives are called the Mastery Achievements. Those are not displayed during the mission, though. You need to get into your profile and look in the achievements area, and that's one of the annoying things about the campaign, is that it doesn't spell out the achievements in advance. Now, you can do the game again in brutal difficulty if you have more time than sense. Some people have been spamming the forums with blather about how the Heart of the Swarm campaign is so painfully easy. No. Heart of the Swarm does finally provide the sort of tutorials for new and casual gamers that Wings of Liberty should have had. Don't overlook the tutorials and the in-mission tips. And it does do some nice things like starting mining automatically, rallying workers to the mining patches, telling you how close you are to saturating a mineral line, or letting you select your entire army with one click. But the campaign is not easy if you try to get all the objectives and the achievements. It is true brutal is probably easier than Wings of Liberty if you just try to complete the mission and don't worry about any objectives. But even so, the claims that Kerrigan can just waltz through every mission single-handedly and beat the level just by herself without doing anything but walking her to the objective is just nuts. One more thought about the campaign. Consider going into your gameplay options and unchecking Enable Simple Command Card so you get the command card that you're used to. Possibly unchecking Select All Larva and checking Enable Enemy Unit Selection, and the game may play a little more like Wings of Liberty. Speaking of Wings of Liberty, when you finished that campaign, you had a lot of achievements, but you couldn't do anything with them because the campaign was over. In Heart of the Swarm, if you load from Master Archives, you can go back and do things with your achievements. Now, with regard to arcade and custom games, that part is still in StarCraft II and still growing, so you can certainly play those games if you want to. But wait, multiplayer has improved, and it's an amazing improvement. Now you can play unranked instead of running in the hamster wheel that Blizzard calls a ladder. Here are some other changes. Replays. You can watch replays with others. You can jump into a replay at a particular time and pick up the game and try playing it a different way from some particular point. There are also more social ways to play together involving groups and clans. You can also play people in other regions of the world. So if you're a foreigner, you can play the Koreans. And of course, there are new maps and units. Star Station is a visually gorgeous map, look at that, but how about the units? Protoss has the Mothership Core. It can become a mothership, but in the meantime it can turn a Nexus into a super duper photon cannon, it can slow down ground units in an area, it can do mass recall. You have a little flying unit called the Oracle that can do quite a bit of damage to workers on a mineral line. It can reveal a particular area, much like a long scanner sweep, and it can act as a temporary detector. The Tempest is a capital ship that can slowly blast away at ground or air from long range, even beyond its own vision with a spotter. The Zerg have 2 new units, not 3. The Swarm Host is a fun siege unit that can burrow and then spawn locusts periodically, which are sort of like broodlings. The Viper is like a flying version of the Defiler from the original StarCraft. It can cast a dark blinding cloud to hinder ranged units. It can consume energy from buildings to build up its energy. And it can do a very interesting abduction trick. It can grab units like Colossi and reel them into your own army so they can be more easily destroyed. Terran's also got 2 new units. Hellbats, which are like a transformer that can switch back and forth between basically a glorified Hellion or a quasi-firebat. There are also Widow Mines that can scuttle about and burrow and then occasionally launch a blast at nearby ground or air, which is quite effective if there's a large clump of enemy units altogether. Now, in general, buildings and units in multiplayer are constantly being buffed or nerfed through patches as Blizzard tries to balance the game until it achieves some form of perfection to pro gamers. So all of this is malleable, but when Heart of the Swarm came out, siege tanks no longer required research to make. One upgrade covered Terran ground and air armor. Medevacs got a temporary speed boost for scooting into or out of trouble. Reapers became easier to build and can regenerate health. And Thors and Ravens got some interesting changes. Take a look at the Seeker missiles. Protoss motherships lost Vortex, Pylons lost warping to high ground, and Void Rays had some beam changes. For Zerg, creep tumors have a nice animation, you can say that. Mutalisks regenerate, and things like spore crawlers and burrow research come earlier. So that's what's new, scholars. Vince at morire.
Arcturus will come around. I know he will.
I will be right, darling.